You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your NXT report for Wednesday, December 20th, 2017. Thank you all for listening. NXT tonight featured 2 championship matches. Not 1, but 2 championship matches. And it kicks off with the NXT Tag Team Champions of the World, Sanity, going 2-on-2 with the Undisputed Era's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Way back at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, Eric Young and Alexander Wolf not only ended the 14-month undefeated streak of the Authors of Pain, they also won the championships that night. Fish and O'Reilly have been undefeated as a team so far since teaming up here in NXT. And this was, again, another star-making performance by Killian Dane as he ran wild on everybody. And Dane filled in, by the way, because Alexander Wolf was injured and they're using the Freebird rule. So it was Dane and Eric Young defending the titles. And Dane, I don't think he was ever not on offense. He kicked butt, he took some names, and, just ran wild on both Fish and O'Reilly. And the only time that Undisputed Era had a chance was when Eric Young was in the ring. And unfortunately, when Eric Young was in the ring, he didn't get to do a whole lot. He had his shoulder hurt by Undisputed Era. Fish and O'Reilly just beat on it. Eventually, Young made his comeback. He's running wild. He goes to the top rope for the big elbow when Adam Cole, baby, appears from out of nowhere, attacks Eric Young, pushing him off the top rope. Suddenly, Nikki Cross appears from out of nowhere, and she takes out Adam Cole to the biggest pop of the night. And Cross at this point gets dragged out by the referees. Chaos then breaks out with everyone, all 5 men at ringside, and somewhere in the confusion, Cole and O'Reilly hit the high-low. They pin Eric Young, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have new champions. The Kings are dead. Long live the new Kings. Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Undisputed Era are your champions. Heavy Machinery was outside and saw Riddick, Moths, and Tino Sabatelli's Maserati and tried to move it out of the way. Moths and Sabatelli mocked them for not being able to afford a Maserati. And this led to the argument straight out of South Park where they called each other friend and buddy. If you've seen South Park, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen South Park, well, it's probably kind of stupid. Anyway, it appeared to set up a future match. Sonya Deville stated that she will defeat Ember Moon next week to become the women's champion, saying that Ember never beat her and they have unfinished business, which confused the heck out of the interviewer. The final qualifying match for the Fatal 4-Way number 1 contenders match took place next as Roderick Strong took on Lars Sullivan. And the winner of this will join Johnny Gargano, Killian Dane, and Aleister Black in next week's Fatal 4-Way match. And the winner of that match will take on Andrade Cien Almas at NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. Strong came out fast at the bell, but Sullivan quickly knocked him down and smashed Strong, throwing him all over the ring. Strong at one point had to fight out of a bear hug before he was able to get out of it. Strong somehow caught Lars Sullivan in the ropes, and he was hitting clothesline after clothesline to the front and the back of the man, but Lars was able to free himself. Lars did go up top. Roddy came off, hit him with a superplex, went for the cover, but Lars kicked out hard, throwing Strong across the ring at a 1 count. Strong gave it his best, but he never came close as he got pinned with the freak accident. The Street Profits had another edition of Street Talk. Like last time, they basically bribed fans with free solo cops to say how great they were. And then the main event, the United Kingdom heavyweight champion, Pete Dunne, versus his number one contender, his number one rival and adversary, the first UK champion, Tyler Bate. This is the third time they're wrestling this year. Their second match in Chicago was an instant classic and my personal pick for match of the year. And they actually teased giving us a fairly short match, as this one didn't even start until about 8:46. But the show went about 15 minutes after the top of the hour and ended up going around 25 uninterrupted minutes, as we didn't even get a commercial break here. They took a commercial break after the introductions but before the bell. This was not as good as the match in Chicago, but it was better than the first bout. The crowd hurt this match because that was one of the things that the Chicago bout was so great, is that crowd was going crazy for that match. Well, they liked this match. They appreciated this match. The NXT crowd in Orlando, they did not react the same way. This was a brutal back-and-forth match between two guys who knew each other so well. For the third time this year, we saw legitimate athletic competition between two stars. Not future stars, stars. They started off with a beautiful, fluid wrestling sequence. Dunn took control, and instead of allowing his superior wrestling to take over, he decided to unleash his inner villain, fish-hooking Bate, even though he really didn't need to. The main weapon for both men was the punch to the face, as these two punched each other in the face, beginning, middle, and end. They worked out different ways to punch each other in the face that make it look, great. They made it look, just different. They teased stomping each other's fingers. At one point, Dunn gave Bate a suplex off the steps outside the ring onto the pretty black mats on the floor. Dunn continued to work on the hands and fingers of Bate, at one point bending his arm down onto the mat and stomping on the elbow, which drove his hand into the mat. Bate started his comeback, including the rolling kick. He went for the Tyler Driver 97, but Dunn turned it into a triangle. However, Bate was able to powerbomb Dunn from that position. Unfortunately, he was still in the triangle, so he somehow lifted Dunn up, carried him to the ropes, and necked him to get out of it. Bate used his airplane spin, going in both directions, and actually did 3 of them, with the third one being the fastest of them all. Tyler used an exploder suplex from the top rope. We had a battle of kicks. Each man kicked out of each other's finisher. And we got to the end as they fought to the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. Bate used the capo kick. But after a while, the brutality of this match just was too much, and Bate made one mistake, and Dunn capitalized on it. Bate went for a German suplex from the top rope, but Dunn over-rotated, landed on his feet, and the second that Bate stood up, he got hit with the bitter end, and that was the bitter end, as Pete Dunne retains in yet another amazing bout. So that is going to do it from here. It took 25 action-packed minutes, but Pete Dunne ends the year as United Kingdom champion. Make sure to go check out this match. I want to thank you all for listening. Have a good Christmas, a great holiday season, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend and administrator of JimCornette.com and the Jim Cornette Experience on MLW every week, and you are listening to Angry Marks and all these people that are asking me all these questions that I'm answering with forthrightness and honesty.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.